It's the champ, Shannon the Cannon, two-time heavyweight champion of the world. And you're watching Sports Icons. Subscribe. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Champ.
Okay, so I've just got off Twitter and I've seen that Michael Benson, the online editor for TalkSport, has reported that Malik Scott, newly promoted trainer for Deontay Wilder, is comparing Deontay Wilder to Muhammad Ali. Now, firstly, this isn't about Deontay Wilder comparing to Muhammad Ali, because that's just ridiculous. Now, we are going to do a comparison for sure, just for clarity, but I'm talking to everybody who's involved in boxing in today's era. Please keep the name Muhammad Ali out of your mouth, unless you are talking about Muhammad Ali as a way to say how you admire Muhammad Ali and talk about Muhammad Ali in a very, very nice way. Don't compare yourself or anybody else of this era to Muhammad Ali. A couple of reasons, really. Firstly, Muhammad Ali, his career has been and gone. Your fighter, as in this particular case, Deontay Wilder, his career is still ongoing. Okay, so again, you can't compare anybody until the career is finished. You just can't. Okay, Muhammad Ali, he sadly passed away a few years ago. So he's not around to defend himself. But you know what? He didn't need to defend himself. Okay? And to compare Deontay Wilder to Muhammad Ali, even the resume itself is laughable. Muhammad Ali has fought the greats of all time in that boxing ring. Who's Deontay Wilder fought and beaten? When he's had 44, 45 fights, whatever it is now, and you can only pull out a Luis Ortiz. Twice, Luis Ortiz, who hasn't beaten anybody himself, never a former Olympian, never anything, who has beaten the shit out of Deontay Wilder on both occasions. Wilder pulled out the equalizer. Okay, cool, congratulations. Stepped up against Tyson Fury, had to rob Tyson Fury in the first fight, in my opinion, and got absolutely destroyed in the rematch. So to compare Wilder's resume to Muhammad Ali is ridiculous, okay? Let's look at the other comparisons. Okay, Wilder, sure, he would have experienced some kind of racial tension, especially growing up in Alabama, okay? We don't have to go through all that. Unfortunately, in today, even in the year 2021, there is still a sickening amount of racial abuse out there. But to compare today's era of racial abuse compared to when Muhammad Ali grew up is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, okay, I'm not American, okay, so I don't know what goes on over there in America, okay, but I know enough to know that in the era of Muhammad Ali, there would never have been a black president. I know that much. I know as much as to say, well, in today's era, there's no segregation with sitting on buses or having to stand up for white people. There's no segregation for nightclubs or supermarkets or all kinds of walks of life like Muhammad Ali had to go through. I know that Muhammad Ali got drafted into Vietnam. Wilder, he's never been drafted into any kind of war. Muhammad Ali stood up in front of the world. His own president of the United States of America, his own people said, I ain't going over to a little country that I don't know these people. They've never done any harm to me. Why would I go over there and kill people because you've asked me to do it? I ain't doing it. He risked getting put in prison, getting killed, because there are a lot of people out there very, very unhappy with Muhammad Ali, saying how he's not a true patriot and all these kind of things, okay? This is a guy who stood up for what he believed in. This is a guy who went to the Olympics, represented the United States of America, got the gold medal, come back to some kind of fanfare, got nothing for it. Why? Because of the colour of his skin. That's why. This is a Muhammad Ali who didn't have social media back then, but became a global superstar. This is a guy who could walk down in any part of the world and get mobbed. Wilder couldn't even walk to the end of his own street without one person going, hey, are you Deontay Wilder? Nobody knows him, okay? Muhammad Ali, the world over. This is Muhammad Ali who's been retired for a long, long time now. People know the name Muhammad Ali. This is the guy, Muhammad Ali, who went through and stood up for equal rights. He stood up for all that. And he did it in an era where he wasn't hating on white people. In fact, some of his closest friends were white people. But he was doing it in such a way where he was actually raising awareness. Compare it to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, sure, he stands up, and yes, of course, he does talk about the racial awareness and all the kind of things that he's experienced and other people, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But again, let's be realistic. While we do have to give Wilder credit for actually standing up and using his platform to do that kind of thing, because he doesn't have to. I don't really recall a time where other people like Floyd Mayweather did it, but Wilder, he has done it. So you do have to give him credit. But if we're being realistic about it, one of the biggest things that's gone on racially in the United States of America, or at least that I'm aware of, is that whole George Floyd incident. You had plenty of boxers out there. You had Joshua, you had Dillian White, you had Vladimir Klitschko, you had many fighters out there. We're talking about boxing, of course, made little videos talking about that and Black Lives Matter and all that kind of thing. Wilder, firstly, he was one of the last people to do it. And even when he did do it, firstly, it's a very good video that he done. Okay, he was stood there. It was like, a 1 minute video or maybe even 2 minutes. But he kept going on about it, this whole George Floyd incident, to say, to this day, he was doing that poem, to this day, while wearing a till this day hoodie, his own merchandise. He was using that situation to flog his own merchandise to profit off of it. Do you think that Muhammad Ali would have done that? Do you think when Muhammad Ali was stood up there and giving speeches, when he was going around the world on talk shows like Michael Parkinson and many other people, talking about the racial awareness and doing it in such a way, do you think that he was doing it as a way to flog his own merchandise, to say, hey, buy my t-shirts, my hoodies, my caps, and all that kind of thing? Okay, they didn't really have hoodies and caps and that back then, but you get my drift. They did have t-shirts and that. But do you think that Muhammad Ali would have done that? Do you think that he would have seen this George Floyd incident and decided to put on his own merchandise and do a video to give his own punchline, his own tagline of to this day, like Deontay Wilder did? Do you think Muhammad Ali would do that? So how dare you compare the resume to Muhammad Ali? What happens outside the ring to Muhammad Ali? Two totally different worlds. Racism in today's era, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. For sure. But nothing even comparable to what Muhammad Ali went through. So don't you dare, Malik Scott. You need to keep that name, Muhammad Ali, out of your stinking mouth is what you need to do. Don't compare Wilder. Don't compare Fury. Don't compare Joshua. Don't compare nobody to Muhammad Ali. If you want to make any kind of comparisons, look at those who are already retired. Look at a Evander Holyfield, a Mike Tyson, a Lennox Lewis, a George Foreman, a Joe Frazier, and all these kind of guys. You can do comparisons all you like because their career is finished. Their era is finished. This era is still ongoing. Wilder has fought and defeated nobody. Absolutely nobody. His resume isn't even not even 2% of what Muhammad Ali done. Not even that. And you dare to compare Deontay Wilder in any kind of category. I don't care how you do it, in what kind of context you do it. Do not compare Wilder or anybody to Muhammad Ali. Malik Scott, you are a dick, is what you are. There is no comparison with Muhammad Ali and Deontay Wilder. Outside of their own skin tones, not even comparable. Okay? Malik Scott, shut your damn mouth. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.